The vast emptiness of space was broken by a fleet of massive ships. Their sleek, dark forms moved silently through the star-studded blackness. At the head of this armada was a vessel that dwarfed all others. Its surface gleamed with an otherworldly sheen, a testament to technology far beyond human understanding. On the bridge of this flagship, Commander Zixner stood tall. His four eyes, each a different shade of purple, scanned the holographic displays surrounding him. The alien's scaly skin shimmered under the soft glow of the ship's lights as he turned to his second-in-command. "Status report," Zixner demanded, his voice a low rumble that seemed to vibrate the very air around him. Lieutenant Krelthor, a being of slightly smaller stature but no less intimidating presence, stepped forward. "Commander, we are approaching the target planet. Our long-range scans confirm it is still inhabited by the species known as humans." Zixnar's upper eyes narrowed while his lower pair widened in anticipation. "Excellent. Prepare to enter their solar system. It's time we show these primitive beings the true might of the Zarkonian Empire." As the alien fleet pressed onward, unaware of their approach, the blue marble that was Earth spun peacefully in the inky black of space. In an underground bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, alarms suddenly blared to life. Red lights flashed as men and women in military uniforms rushed to their stations. General Sarah Thompson, her salt and pepper hair pulled back in a tight bun, strode purposefully into the command center. "Report," she barked, her eyes already fixed on the main screen dominating the far wall. A young lieutenant swiveled in his chair, his face pale. "Ma'am, our deep space monitors have detected a large number of unidentified objects entering the solar system. They're massive, General. Nothing like we've ever seen before." Thompson's jaw clenched. They had always known this day might come, but hoping and preparing were two very different things. "Alert the President and the Joint Chiefs. I want every available satellite and telescope focused on those objects. And get me our top xenolinguists and first contact specialists. We need to be ready for anything." As the bunker erupted into controlled chaos, leaders around the world were being awakened to the most significant news in human history. Humanity was no longer alone, and their first visitors did not seem to come in peace. In the Oval Office, President Elena Rodriguez sat behind her desk, her normally composed features etched with concern. Before her stood the heads of various military branches and intelligence agencies, each providing updates on the unfolding situation. "Madam President," General Thompson's voice came through the secure video link. "Based on their current trajectory and speed, the alien fleet will reach Earth orbit in approximately 72 hours. Rodriguez leaned forward, her hands clasped tightly. "What are our options, people? How do we defend against technology we can't even understand?" The room fell silent. It was the Secretary of Defense who finally spoke up. "Madam President, I'm afraid our most advanced weapon systems would be like throwing rocks at a tank. We're hopelessly outgunned." The weight of those words settled heavily on everyone present. Humanity, for all its progress and achievements, found itself facing an enemy it couldn't hope to match technologically. As discussions of evacuation plans and last-ditch efforts filled the room, Rodriguez's mind raced. There had to be something they could do, some way to protect their world and their people. Back on the alien flagship, Commander Zixner stood before a gathered group of his top officers. His voice boomed through the chamber, filled with a mixture of anticipation and disdain. "For too long, we have watched these humans. We've studied their weaknesses, their pathetic attempts at technology, their constant infighting. Now we will show them the futility of their existence in the face of true power." A cheer went up from the assembled aliens, a sound that would have chilled the blood of any human who heard it. Zixner raised a clawed hand for silence. "Prepare our ultimate weapon. When we reach their pitiful planet, we will unleash the beast. Let them tremble before the might of the Zarkonian Empire." As the alien armada drew ever closer to Earth, two civilizations stood on the brink, one confident in its superiority, the other facing an existential threat unlike any in its history. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of humanity and perhaps change the course of galactic history forever. Little did either side know that the ultimate weapon would lead to outcomes none could have predicted, and that the human capacity for compassion would prove more powerful than any technology. The world held its breath as the alien armada entered Earth's orbit. Massive ships blocked out the stars, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly light. People around the globe stared at their screens or up at the sky, a mix of fear and awe on their faces. In New York City, the streets were eerily quiet. Sarah Chin, a young paramedic, stood on the roof of her apartment building, her eyes fixed on the strange shapes hanging in the sky. "This can't be real," she whispered to herself, clutching her phone tightly. Suddenly, her device buzzed with an emergency alert. "All citizens are advised to seek shelter immediately. This is not a drill." Repeat, "This is not a drill." Sarah's heart raced as she rushed back inside, her mind already on her elderly neighbors who might need help. On the alien flagship, Commander Zixnar's 4 eyes gleamed with anticipation. He turned to his weapons officer, a stocky alien with metallic skin. "Begin the deployment of the beast. Let us show these humans true terror." The weapons officer nodded, his fingers dancing over a holographic interface. "Deployment sequence initiated, Commander. The beast will touch down in their largest population center in approximately 30 Earth minutes." Zixnar's mouth stretched into what passed for a smile in his species. "Excellent. Prepare the viewing screens. I want to savor every moment of their panic." Back on Earth, in the underground command center, General Thompson watched as a small object detached from the main alien fleet. "What the hell is that?" she muttered, leaning closer to the screen. A young analyst spoke up, his voice shaky. "Ma'am, it appears to be some sort of pod. It's heading straight for New York City." Thompson's jaw clenched. "Alert local authorities. Get as many people underground as possible. And someone get me a visual on that thing." As the alien pod streaked through Earth's atmosphere, it left a trail of eerie green light. People pointed and screamed, many running for cover, while others stood transfixed by the sight. In Central Park, a crowd had gathered despite the warnings. Among them was Dr. Mike Lawson, a veterinarian who had been walking his dog when the alert started. He should have gone home, he knew, but curiosity had gotten the better of him. The pod crashed into the park with a thunderous boom, sending dirt and debris flying. As the dust settled, an unearthly silence fell over the area. Mike edged closer, his dog whining softly beside him. The pod had created a small crater, and at its center was something. It was hard to make out through the settling dust. In the command center, all eyes were glued to the live feed from New York. "What is that thing?" Thompson demanded, squinting at the blurry image. The dust finally cleared, revealing a sight that left everyone speechless. There, in the middle of the crater, sat a small furry creature. It looked almost like a cross between a puppy and a kitten, with big, sparkling eyes and soft, iridescent fur. Mike blinked in disbelief. This was the alien's terrifying weapon. Without thinking, he took a step forward. On the alien ship, Zixnar's triumphant expression morphed into one of confusion. What are they doing? Why aren't they running in terror?" Back in the park, Mike knelt down beside the creature. It looked up at him, tilting its head curiously. Then, to everyone's surprise, it let out a small, adorable chirp. A smile spread across Mike's face. "Well, aren't you just the cutest little thing?" he said softly, reaching out to gently pet the creature's head. The alien beast leaned into Mike's touch, making a sound that was remarkably similar to a purr. In homes and shelters across the city, people watched their screens in amazement. The terrifying alien weapon was adorable. General Thompson stared at the feed, her mouth hanging open. "Someone explain to me what the hell is going on," she demanded. In the White House Situation Room, President Rodriguez leaned back in her chair, a look of bewilderment on her face. Are we sure this isn't some kind of trick? As Mike continued to pet the alien creature, more people began to cautiously approach. The beast seemed to revel in the attention, chirping happily and nuzzling against anyone who came close. On the alien ship, chaos erupted. Zixnar bellowed in rage, his subordinates cowering before him. This is impossible. The beast is supposed to inspire terror, not this. As news spread around the world, the initial fear began to give way to curiosity and even amusement. Humanity's first contact with alien life had taken a turn that no one, human or alien, could have possibly predicted. And in Central Park, surrounded by amazed onlookers, Mike Lawson couldn't help but chuckle. "Well," he said to the purring alien creature, "I guess the aliens didn't count on humanity's love for cute and cuddly things, did they?" As news of the adorable alien beast spread, the world's reaction shifted from terror to fascination. Social media exploded with pictures and videos of the creature, which people had started calling Cosmic Cutie, or CC for short. In Central Park, Dr. Mike Lawson had become an impromptu caretaker for CC. He sat on the grass, the alien creature curled up contentedly in his lap. A crowd had gathered around them, kept at a respectful distance by hastily assembled police barriers. "It's just remarkable," Mike said to a nearby reporter. "CC seems to feed on positive emotions. The happier people are around it, the more it thrives." As if on cue, CC let out a happy chirp and nuzzled against Mike's hand. The crowd let out a collective awe. Meanwhile, in the White House Situation Room, President Rodriguez was in the middle of a heated discussion with her advisors. "Madam President," General Thompson said, her face serious on the video screen, "we can't rule out the possibility that this is all part of the aliens' plan. This cosmic cutie could be dangerous." Rodriguez nodded, her brow furrowed. "I understand your concerns, General. But from what we've seen so far, CC seems harmless. In fact, it might be our best chance at peaceful communication with the aliens." As they debated, a young Abe burst into the room. "Madam President, we're receiving a transmission from the alien ship." All eyes turned to the main screen as it flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Commander Zixnar. His 4 eyes blazed with barely contained rage. "Humans," he growled, his voice translated by advanced software. "You dare to mock us? Our beast was meant to bring you to your knees in terror." Rodriguez stood tall, facing the alien leader. "Commander, we mean no disrespect. But surely you can see that your beast has brought joy, not fear, to our people. Perhaps this is an opportunity for understanding between our species." Zixnar's upper eyes narrowed dangerously. "Understanding? Foolish humans, you know nothing of true power. We will show you the error of your ways." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in tense silence. Back in Central Park, Mike was oblivious to the diplomatic crisis unfolding. He was focused on CC, who had suddenly perked up, its fur shimmering with an otherworldly glow. "What's wrong, little one?" Mike asked softly. CC let out a series of chirps and whistles, sounding almost like speech. A nearby linguist, Dr. Emily Chen, who had been observing CC, gasped. It's trying to communicate." As the crowd watched in amazement, CC's chirps became more complex, forming patterns that Dr. Chen frantically recorded on her tablet. "It's incredible," she muttered. "The patterns are changing, adapting. It's learning our language in real time." Suddenly, CC looked up at Mike with its large, expressive eyes and spoke its first clear word, "Friend." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause. Mike felt tears welling up in his eyes. "That's right, CC. We're friends." Unknown to the joyous crowd, high above the earth, Commander Zixnar was preparing for drastic action. "If the beast won't terrify them," he snarled to his officers, "then we'll use brute force. Prepare the invasion fleet." As alien ships began to descend towards major cities around the globe, humanity faced its greatest test. But they had an unexpected ally in CC, whose powers were only beginning to manifest. In the White House, alarms blared as reports of alien ships entering the atmosphere flooded in. President Rodriguez steeled herself for the challenge ahead. "Get me in touch with other world leaders," she ordered. "And I want a direct line to Dr. Lawson and that creature. They might be our best hope." As chaos erupted around the world, Mike held CC close, sensing the creature's growing distress. "It's okay," he whispered, even as he saw the alien ships descending in the distance. "We'll figure this out together." CC looked up at him, its eyes glowing with an inner light. "Protect," it said clearly. "Protect friends." In that moment, as two vastly different species formed an unlikely bond, the true battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and it would be fought not with weapons, but with understanding, compassion, and the power of friendship. As alien ships filled the skies over major cities worldwide, panic began to spread. But in New York's Central Park, a strange calm prevailed. At the center of it all was Dr. Mike Lawson, still cradling the alien creature now known as CC. "Everyone, please stay calm," Mike called out to the growing crowd. "I think CC is trying to help us." Indeed, the small, furry alien was glowing brighter than ever, its eyes fixed on the threatening ships above. "Protect friends," CC repeated, its voice growing stronger. Suddenly, a beam of soft, rainbow-colored light shot from CC's body, enveloping the entire park. People gasped in awe as they felt a wave of warmth and peace wash over them. High above in the alien command ship, Commander Zixnar watched the scene with growing frustration. "What is happening?" he bellowed. "Why aren't they cowering in fear?" His second-in-command, Lieutenant Krelthor, studied the readings on a holographic display. "Sir, it appears the beast is protecting them somehow. Our weapons can't penetrate that energy field." Zixnar's 4 eyes bulged in disbelief. "Impossible. The beast was engineered to feed on fear and cause destruction. How can it be doing this?" As the alien leaders argued, President Rodriguez was in constant communication with other world leaders and her team on the ground in New York. "Dr. Lawson," she said via a secure video link, "can you tell us more about what CC is doing?" Mike, looking slightly overwhelmed, nodded. "Madam President, it's incredible. CC seems to be absorbing all the positive emotions around it, love, hope, compassion, and turning them into some kind of protective energy. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Dr. Emily Chen, the linguist, chimed in. "And its language skills are developing at an exponential rate. CC is not just learning our words, but our concepts, our culture. It's as if it's becoming a bridge between our species." As they spoke, CC's protective field began to expand, covering more and more of the city. Wherever it spread, the alien ships found themselves unable to use their weapons or land. In the command ship, Zixnar was beside himself with rage. This is not how it was supposed to go. The beast was our ultimate weapon, not some peacemaker. Lieutenant Krelthor hesitated before speaking. "Sir, if I may, perhaps we've misunderstood something fundamental about the beast. Our scientists always assumed it would feed on negative emotions, but what if it's the opposite? What if the human's kindness and acceptance have awakened its true nature?" Zixnar turned on his subordinate, ready to lash out, but paused. A flicker of doubt crossed his alien features. Could we have been wrong all this time? Back on Earth, CC's influence was spreading rapidly. Through internet broadcasts and social media, images of the peaceful alien and its protective aura were reaching people around the globe. In response, humans everywhere began to focus on feelings of love, hope, and unity. In Central Park, CC turned to Mike, its eyes shimmering with intelligence. "Humans different," it said. "Not fear. Love. CC learn love." Mike smiled, tears in his eyes. "That's right, CC. Love is much stronger than fear." As this scene played out on screens across the planet, And in the alien ships above, something remarkable began to happen. The alien soldiers, exposed to these powerful emotions through CC's growing influence, started to hesitate. Commander Zixnar watched in disbelief as his invasion force began to stand down, one ship at a time. Reports flooded in of alien troops experiencing strange new emotions, a feeling connected to the humans they were meant to conquer. "What have these humans done?" Zixnar whispered, a mix of awe and fear in his voice. President Rodriguez, seeing the tide turn, made a bold decision. "Patch me through to the alien command ship," she ordered. "It's time we had a real conversation." As the connection was established, Rodriguez looked directly at the alien commander. "Commander Zixnar, I believe we've had a serious misunderstanding. Perhaps it's time we talked, not as enemies, but as two species with much to learn from each other." Zixnar, his earlier bravado gone, nodded slowly. Perhaps you are right, human leader. It seems we have much to discuss." As tensions began to ease around the world, Mike hugged CC close. "You did it, little one. You showed us all a better way." CC chirped happily, its glow softening to a gentle shimmer. "Not CC alone. Humans help. Humans teach love. Now CC teach aliens. All friends." In that moment, under the warm glow of newfound understanding, the future of both species began to change in ways no one could have predicted. As the world held its breath, the first official meeting between human and alien leaders began. In a hastily prepared conference room at the United Nations headquarters, President Rodriguez sat across from Commander Zixnar. Between them, curled up contentedly on the table, was CC. Dr. Mike Lawson stood nearby, still amazed at how quickly events had unfolded. Just days ago, he had been a simple veterinarian. Now, he was at the center of humanity's first contact with an alien species. "Commander Zixnar," President Rodriguez began, her voice calm but firm. "I believe we both have many questions. Perhaps we should start with the most obvious one. What exactly is CC, and why did you send it to Earth?" Zixnar's four eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of discomfort in his species. "The creature you call CC," he said slowly, "was supposed to be our ultimate weapon. We call it the empath beast. It was engineered to absorb and amplify the dominant emotions of any species it encounters." Mike couldn't help but interrupt. "But why would you think that would make it a weapon?" The alien commander turned to Mike, his expression unreadable. "In our long history of conquest, fear has always been the dominant emotion we encountered. The empath beast was meant to feed on that fear, growing more terrifying and powerful with each world we conquered." A murmur went through the room as the implications of this sank in. Dr. Emily Chen, who had been quietly taking notes, spoke up. "So when CC encountered kindness and love instead of fear, it adapted," Zixnar finished. "In all our simulations, we never considered this outcome." CC, as if sensing it was the topic of discussion, lifted its head and chirped happily. A wave of warmth seemed to pulse through the room, and even Zixnar's rigid posture softened slightly. President Rodriguez leaned forward, her eyes bright with curiosity. "Commander, you speak of a history of conquest. Why? What drives your species to expand in this way?" For the first time, Zixnar looked genuinely uncomfortable. "Our world is dying," he admitted. "Resources are scarce, and our population is growing. For generations, we believed conquest was our only option for survival." A hush fell over the room. The alien threat suddenly seemed much more complex than anyone had imagined. Mike, still gently petting CC, had a thought. But what if there was another way? CC has shown us that our species can communicate, can understand each other. Surely there's a possibility for cooperation rather than conquest. As if in response to Mike's words, CC began to glow softly. Its fur shimmered with rainbow hues, and suddenly, everyone in the room gasped. In their minds, they saw vivid images, lush alien worlds, advanced technologies, and the vast resources of space. It's showing us the potential of our species working together, Dr. Chen said in awe. Commander Zixner stood up abruptly, his eyes wide. This is unprecedented. The empath beast has never displayed abilities like this before. President Rodriguez smiled. Perhaps, Commander, your weapon has evolved into something far more valuable, a bridge between our cultures. As the implications of this revelation sank in, CC continued to project images of a shared future. Humans and aliens working side by side, exploring the stars, solving problems together. Mike laughed softly. And to think, all of this started because we thought CC was cute. Zixnar turned to Mike, confusion evident in his alien features. This concept of cute, it is powerful in your species. More than you know, Mike replied with a grin. It's one of the ways we express and encourage positive emotions like love and affection. The alien commander shook his head in wonder. We have much to learn from each other, it seems. As the meeting continued, plans were made for cultural exchanges, scientific cooperation, and joint space exploration. The threat of invasion had transformed into an opportunity for unprecedented growth and understanding. CC, still at the center of it all, purred contentedly. Its mission, so different from what its creators had intended, was far from over. As a bridge between two vastly different species, it would play a crucial role in shaping the future of both humanity and the Zarkonian Empire. And it all started with a simple act of kindness, a human looking at a strange alien creature and seeing not a threat, but a cute, lovable being worthy of affection. In that moment, humanity's capacity for love had not only saved their world, but opened up the entire universe. As days passed, the world watched in amazement as humans and aliens began to work together. CC, the catalyst for this unprecedented cooperation, continued to grow in both size and ability. What had once been a small, cuddly creature was now the size of a large dog, its fur shimmering with ever-changing colors. Dr. Mike Lawson, still CC's primary caretaker, noticed the change first. It's not just getting bigger, he told President Rodriguez during a video call. CC's abilities are expanding too. It's like it's absorbing knowledge and emotions from everyone around it. Rodriguez nodded, her expression thoughtful. And how are our guests adapting? Mike couldn't help but smile. It's incredible, Madam President. The aliens who've stayed to work with us, they're changing too. It's like CC is teaching them how to feel positive emotions. Meanwhile, aboard the alien command ship still orbiting Earth, Commander Zixnar was facing an unexpected crisis. More and more of his crew were requesting to join the cultural exchange program on Earth's surface. Sir, Lieutenant Krell Thor reported, his usual stern demeanor softened by an unfamiliar look of wonder. The latest group returned from Earth. They're different. Happy. They speak of strange concepts like friendship and cooperation. Zixnar growled in frustration. This is unacceptable. We are warriors. Not whatever these humans are turning us into. But even as he spoke, doubt crept into his voice. The reports from Earth were hard to ignore. His people were thriving down there, freed from the constant stress of conquest and survival. Back on Earth, CC was about to unveil its most astounding ability yet. As Mike and a team of human and alien scientists watched, CC began to glow with an intensity that filled the entire laboratory. Suddenly, every screen and device in the room came to life, displaying complex equations and designs. Dr. Emily Chen gasped, her eyes wide with realization. It's showing us how to combine our technologies, she exclaimed. Look, there are solutions to problems both our species have been struggling with for years. Mike watched in awe as CC chirped happily, clearly pleased with itself. You clever little thing, he murmured. You're not just bridging our cultures, you're advancing them. Word of this breakthrough spread quickly, reaching the alien command ship. When Zixnar saw the data, his 4 eyes widened in shock. This is impossible, he whispered. With this knowledge, we could save our homeworld. We wouldn't need to conquer anymore. As if on cue, CC's influence reached out further. The empathic field that had started in Central Park now expanded, enveloping the entire planet and reaching up to the orbiting alien ships. Across the fleet, alien soldiers suddenly found themselves experiencing a flood of new emotions. Compassion, joy, hope, feelings that had been largely unknown in their warlike culture washed over them. On the command ship's bridge, Zixner stumbled, overwhelmed by the unfamiliar sensations. "What is happening?" he gasped. Lieutenant Krelthor, tears in his eyes, turned to his commander. "Sir, I think we're feeling what the humans feel. It's beautiful." As the alien crew grappled with their new emotions, something remarkable happened. One by one, they began to question the path that had led them to Earth. The idea of conquest, which had driven their civilization for so long, suddenly seemed hollow and misguided. Back on Earth, President Rodriguez received an urgent message. Commander Zixnar was requesting an emergency meeting. When the alien leader's hologram appeared in the White House Situation Room, everyone was shocked by his appearance. The once fierce commander looked humbled, his posture no longer rigid with pride. "President Rodriguez," Zixnar said, his voice thick with emotion, "on behalf of my people, I wish to formally end all hostilities with Earth. He paused, seeming to struggle with the words, "We ask for your forgiveness and for your help." A cheer went up from the assembled humans. President Rodriguez, smiling broadly, nodded. "Of course, Commander. As we've learned from CC, we're stronger together than apart." As the details of peace were hammered out, Mike sat with CC in a quiet corner of the lab. "You planned this all along, didn't you?" he asked the creature fondly. CC looked up at him, its eyes twinkling with intelligence. "Planned? No. Hoped. Yes. Humans teach CC love. CC teach all." Mike laughed, hugging his alien friend close. "Well, whatever your plan was, it worked. You've changed everything, CC." As night fell on this new era of interstellar cooperation, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. And it all started with a simple act of kindness towards a small, strange creature from the stars. 5 years had passed since the day CC arrived on Earth. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined. As the sun rose over New York City, its light glinted off sleek buildings that seamlessly blended human and alien architecture. Dr. Mike Lawson stood on the balcony of the newly established Interstellar Cooperation Center, watching as hovercars and alien shuttles zoomed by. Beside him, CC lounged contentedly, now the size of a small pony and shimmering with an ever-changing array of colors. "Hard to believe how far we've come, huh, buddy?" Mike said, scratching behind CC's ears. CC's response came not in words, but in a wave of warm emotions that washed over Mike. Over the years, CC had developed the ability to communicate complex ideas through feelings and images, a skill that had proven invaluable in fostering understanding between humans and aliens. Inside the center, President Rodriguez, now in her second term, was preparing to address a unique audience. The room was filled with humans, former Zarkonian warriors, and representatives from a dozen other alien species that had been drawn to Earth by news of the remarkable events that had unfolded here. As Rodriguez took the stage, a hush fell over the crowd. 5 years ago, she began, we stood on the brink of war. Today, we stand united, not just as a planet, but as a galactic community. She gestured to the side, where Commander Zixnar, now Ambassador Zixnar, stood with a group of his fellow Zarkonians. The once fearsome warriors now looked relaxed, their faces capable of expressing a range of emotions that would have been unthinkable in their former warlike culture. Thanks to the bond forged between our species, Rodriguez continued, we've made advancements that neither of us could have achieved alone. The Zarkonian homeworld, once on the brink of environmental collapse, is now thriving, and Earth has taken its first steps into the stars, with colonies established on Mars and Europa. A cheer went up from the audience. Dr. Emily Chen, now the head of the Xenolinguistics department, wiped a tear from her eye. She remembered the early days, when communication between humans and aliens had seemed almost impossible. Now, thanks to CC's influence, a form of universal empathy had developed, allowing for understanding that transcended language. As the speech continued, Mike's mind wandered to the changes he'd seen in his own life. He was no longer just a veterinarian. He was Earth's leading expert on alien biology, working with scientists from across the galaxy to unlock the secrets of life in all its diverse forms. But more than the scientific advancements, it was the cultural changes that amazed him. Humans had learned patience and long-term thinking from the long-lived Zarkonians. In turn, humans had taught the aliens about creativity, individuality, and the power of positive emotions. CC had been at the center of it all, its ability to bridge gaps between species proving invaluable as more alien races made contact with Earth. What had started as a misunderstanding between two species had blossomed into a galactic renaissance of cooperation and mutual understanding. As the ceremony wound down, Mike felt a tug on his sleeve. He looked down to see a young Zarkonian child, no more than the equivalent of 6 Earth years old. "Dr. Mike," the child said, its voice filled with the musical tones of its species, "is it true that you were the first to be kind to CC?" Mike knelt down, smiling. "I just did what any human would do when they see a cute, friendly creature. I showed it love." The child's eyes widened in wonder. "And that changed everything." "It sure did," Mike replied, feeling CC's warmth as the creature moved to nuzzle the young alien. "It taught us all that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is a simple act of kindness." As Mike watched the Zarkonian child giggle and play with CC, he felt a profound sense of hope for the future. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but also full of challenges. Yet he knew that together, humans, Zarkonians, CC, and whatever other species they might encounter, they were ready to face whatever came next. The story of humanity's first contact with alien life hadn't ended with conflict, as so many had feared. Instead, it had opened a new chapter, one of friendship, growth, and boundless possibility. And it had all started with a simple phrase, "What a cute pup." As the sun set on another day in this new, interconnected galaxy, Mike couldn't help but smile. The future was bright, and it was theirs to shape together.